When you want to hear about games and only games, look no further. This is the Games Only Podcast, your number one source for video game news, reviews, and opinions. With HP 1703.
In death as in life, I shall honor my brothers.
Dr. Gumaer.
The boss is here at last, boys.
And myself, Sunflower.
Fresh victim.
Games Only Podcast on iTunes and YouTube.
Hello and welcome to the Games Only Podcast, episode 35.
35.
I am your host this evening, HP 1703, and I am a pineapple. Sweet on the outside and pokey on the inside. On the inside.
You're an inverted pineapple.
I'm an inverted pineapple. To my east, a man who is an apple.
Hello!
A big apple. It's Dr. Gumaer.
So wait. You get to be the exotic inverted pineapple, which there are none in Wisconsin, mind you. And I get to be the cliched apple.
You're a big apple.
And we're going to talk about games.
And to myself and west, a man who is waving wheat.
That sure smells sweet.
It's Sunflower 4000.
Hi, everybody, when the wind comes right behind the rain.
Fantastic. Let's talk about some games in clear voices that we can all hear, shall we?
Yeah, sure.
Fantastic. Let us start with a game that Sonny has already video reviewed. If you don't follow him on Twitter, at Sunflower4000, you should. But for those who haven't, Sonny, tell me a little bit about Bloodforge.
Bloodforge follows the story of a warrior named Crom, who has decided to stop fighting for or against the gods, and instead do his own thing, hunting, fishing, copulating with his wife, normal people things.
Right.
But the gods have different plans for him, and decide, let's kill everyone he knows, and we'll see what happens. We'll see how it shakes out. So it's time to get to killing.
Oh, okay. So how do you get to killing in Bloodforge?
You basically immediately start fighting enemies, and you do a lot of yelling, and you do a lot of stabbing. And you played the demo for like the first 3 minutes of the game, isn't it?
It is. I think demo is being very generous with what they give you. Yeah, it is literally probably the first arena of the game, and you fight about a dozen enemies, and that's it. That's the demo.
Well, here's the good news. The rest of the game doesn't change.
Okay.
They're pretty much doing the same garbage.
That is bad news. This game, I like the art style, but literally everything about this game feels derivative.
It really does. Even the art style, like you said, that you enjoyed, which I did too. The game graphically looks fantastic.
Yeah.
It's got a real strong stylized look. Rips off 300. Let's just do reds and blacks, and for all of the fonts, we'll have it look like it was scratched with red. Oh, where have I seen that before? And also, where have I seen a character that yells about gods and tries to kill them? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the guy was covered in ashes and his name was Kratos. And that would have been better if the game played like that. However, it plays like its own special particular brand of dog shit.
It attempts a God of War style combat.
You punch the enemy and you hit them with your sword so many times until a little dizzy indicator shows up above their head. I'm thinking, like the little chickens that would go across, but it's not. It's more like a star with a blue trail, and then you can brutally kill them for more blood. Which, in case you were misled by the PR, all the blood that you collect in this game, it's just another word for points. It really doesn't matter how much actual blood you see. It's really was a letdown.
Yeah, again, in kind of a God of War style, with the red, whatever orbs or whatever that you absorbed, it's kind of your experience. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, it's what you buy new skills with, and there are not many to go around. There are 3 different gods. Ironically, since you are hating them, you can adopt their magic, which is very unimpressive. I went the magic crystals route, which means I can hit a button every once in a blue moon because you have to actually pick up magic charges. It doesn't come back automatically. In fact, nothing in this game comes back automatically, but I'll get to that later.
Okay.
You pick up magic, and crystals sprout from the ground and hold some dudes for a little while as you continue on your merry way. Not the most impressive thing in the world. I wish I had gone with the lightning tree, but I also am not about to re-download this game.
You already took it off your Xbox?
Yes, I did. It is one of the Xbox Arcade Next titles, which also showcases the new 400-point achievements for arcade games, which is nice. It does. This game needs all the help it can get, and this does give it a little bit of help. But as I mentioned earlier, you don't recharge your magic. You don't even recharge your health. In fact, after bosses, you don't recharge your health there either. There's no difficulty level. There's no way to recharge your health except from health pickups, which are not scattered, but placed deliberately by the developers at certain areas in the stage. So if you happen to not be as good as they wanted you to be, you will never go past whatever point you're stuck at. If you can't do anything better, you're just completely screwed. There's no leeway whatsoever, no options.
There's a glass ceiling to it.
And boy, it doesn't break for nothing.
I'm
a steel dome.
In addition to kind of the control that they take away in terms of regenerating stuff, the camera's a little fidgety, and I didn't find a way to change it or adjust the sensitivity at all.
There's no way.
Okay.
It does what's kind of reminiscent of when you would play Gears of War and do the roadie run. It would kind of lock behind you in a way and kind of sway a little bit as if someone was hauling ass behind you. This one kind of does a lazy handicap crawl where you will not see anything aligned properly. Things will sway back and forth, and there's no way to change it or fix it. Even in combat, it's a mess. And regarding the camera in combat, it doesn't even show you who you're locked onto. You can't lock onto people in particular. It locks onto who it wants to, and it doesn't tell you who you're locked onto at all. So it's just really a mess.
Well, that's too bad. I know they had high aspirations for this Summer of Arcade Next, or whatever they're calling it. Arcade Next? What are they calling this?
Arcade Next.
Arcade Next.
We're in spring.
Whatever. I don't know. I feel like Bloodforge has a nice scope at the very least. It seemed like kind of an epic, kind of long game. How long would you say it is?
You're probably looking at 4 hours, maybe 5.
Okay.
And it does have a very majestic, for lack of a better word, look to it, until you try to go off the beaten path and you're stopped by like some pebbles. You're like, oh, I guess I can't walk past this, and it's just a straight line that I have to go in. That kind of blows. And it does have a neat little visual style because it's kind of like the Celtic God of War, but it doesn't bar the good parts.
Yeah, that's too bad. And I honestly, I can't recommend even playing the demo because it doesn't show you or tell you anything about the game.
It's not going to win you over, so don't even waste your time. It sucks. It's a shame, but yeah, the game's just not good.
Wow. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. You know what? Let's talk about a better Arcade Next title. Doc, you've been playing more Trials Evolution?
Yeah, and I've pretty much hit a wall in that game because you're going over little courses and you're gonna have to retry them over and over again, and then they keep introducing harder and harder elements. And now I'm stuck in areas in which they need you to bunny hop over like boxes during an incline and crazy shit like that. So I decided to go and hit up the little bonus sections they have. So these aren't like the standard courses. Usually there's some little twist. And they have some fun little side things. Like one, you're a skier going down a course and you get extra points by doing flips. so that's kind of fun. And they have a Marble Madness stage in there.
Oh, cool.
Which is ridiculous, but they said, hey, not only can you make tracks in the editor, I haven't touched the editor yet, that's not my cup of tea, but not only can you make tracks in the editor, but you can make other types of games, and it's Marble Madness using their physics, kind of over the top, looking down the course, Marble Madness. What else was there? And then there's some novelty ones, like, okay, see how far you can get in this course, and the gas pedal is permanently pressed, so you can only lean forward and back, you can't brake. And then there was one in which you couldn't lean forward and back, and you had to do everything by gassing and braking. Little novelty things like that. But those are a nice change of pace when you are stuck on really, really hard courses. So they really tried to do little extra things. And in the editor, you can make all those types of courses. So, I mean, if you like to create content for games, if Little Big Planet was your type of game, and you like this style of Trials Evolution, this is definitely for you, because I know friends of ours have been working on tracks for like weeks straight trying to make them perfect. So I think there's an easy editor and a really more in-depth editor. So even if you just want to like put together a course real quick, you can. Or if you actually are one of those nitpickers, you can go ahead and handle that. So I enjoyed it.
Do you think the bonus levels kind of increase your skill in the game? Do you feel like you're getting better by doing these kind of other tangential things?
No, you're getting better at that particular game.
Okay.
Like, because, I'm going down on skis, and I'm trying to get as many flips as humanly possible. So I'm getting better at flipping, but I'm not getting better at actual, Trials Evolution, per se, the actual courses.
So that kind of thing won't help you. The courses where your gas is permanently stuck down, that kind of stuff won't help?
No, I don't think that would help at all. But, like, every course is pretty different, so I think the only way, you slightly get better at the courses, knowing how to take jumps better, how to land better, but like a lot of the courses are very unique. Like there's one course in which it was all sewer pipes, and they would blast you up into the air when you go over them, and it was part of the course, and you have to hit this pipe at a good moment to land and go off the next pipe. So that's like very specific for that course, and you can learn to play the game really well and able to go ahead on courses, and sometimes you can pass them on the first try, but a lot of it's just the course-on-course basis. Like, you'll learn how to take this specific jump in this course, and then that's it. You might see something similar in the next course, or it might be different. But what really soured me is there was like most of these tracks are like 1 minute long, tops. And there was like this endless fucking track. There's like a 20-minute long track.
The Giga track.
Yeah, it was terrible, man.
Yeah.
It was bad. Because I'm used to like starting over like straight from the beginning, because there's like a 1 minute long track. Why not just start over from the beginning? Why not? And this, I'm like starting over. I'm like, man, this track's pretty long. I'm looking at times like 2 minutes. I'm like, this is kind of easy, but I make a mistake. I start over, and I was like 3 minutes gone. And now I'm like, okay, let me just do it with just restarting from last checkpoint. And I'm like, God damn it, it's just like fucking 20 minutes long. I did not like that course at all. It's pretty much exactly what they should not be doing. The short and sweet courses that maybe a lot of tricks put in very compact, that's what they should be doing, not this long, drawn-out course, because that can just probably be frustrating sometimes.
Do you think the developers put that track in just so people would not ask them for longer tracks?
I think so.
I think that's possible.
The longest track in the fucking world. Yeah, I could see that.
Preemptive strike against people going, these tracks should all be longer.
I mean, it was a decent track just looking at it, because it was nice and mountainous and everything was spread out, so it was a little bit more of a natural track.
Sure.
But still, it was just a pain if you had to restart anywhere. It's just like, okay, I did 20 faults. Do I really want to do 21 faults, or should I just start over from the beginning and lose 10 minutes of work? And the first like few difficulties, I'll say, because everything's broken up. The sections are broken up into difficulties. Like up to medium, I was okay with. I was happy with. The second they got into hard, I'm just like fuck this. This game is. I'll eat up that challenge, but there's a point in which it's like, okay, this is too hard, and I'm done with that.
doesn't help. So it all depends on your threshold. You could have no threshold like HP. You could be a glutton for pain like Sonny, or you could be like me and say, fuck this shit.
This all makes sense.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so that's Trials Evolution in a nutshell. And the three opposing views of Trials. Sonny, have you gotten this game yet?
No, I'm still poor.
Aww.
Okay, great. I'm sorry to hear that.
Can't afford it yet, but as soon as I can, I really want it. Played the demo like 20 times.
Are you the type of person to create courses or no?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
I didn't think so either.
Thanks, guys.
I see some games on here that I know nothing about.
Magic the Gathering?
And you played it.
Is that where you want me to go next?
Sure, why not?
Okay. I will be brief. I played Magic the Gathering, Duels of the Planeswakers, 2012.
Walkers.
Planeswakers,
Doesn't
2012. The
Yo, man, you played Magic. There you go.
20 does.
20 does.
I know nothing about Magic. I preface this. Going into this game, I knew nothing about this game.
Did you do this last week?
I haven't really talked about this game at all because I didn't get into it enough to say anything about it.
Yeah, I think he made mention that he's playing it, and that was it.
Right. So I will just say that as somebody who is going into this game knowing literally nothing about how to play Magic, I feel like I am learning a decent amount. The difficulty is ramping at a good pace for me. I'm able to win these duels and progress, and it's challenging without being overly frustrating or unfair. And so I think you can be someone who has not played Magic and not know anything about it and play this game and still enjoy it.
Guess what? I was one of those people, but now I know, and now I love it.
And now you know, and knowing is half the battle.
Sucked me.
Yeah, that's
sucked me.
One of the parts where Duels with Planewalkers excels, because the real hard part about Magic the Gathering is actually building your own decks from scratch, and Planeswalkers does not let you do that. It comes out with really well balanced, really thought out decks already, so you don't have to worry about that. You just have to worry about learning the rules and not having to be beaten down by this really overpowering deck.
Yeah, and it requires. I will say this to a new player. It requires a lot of reading of the specific cards because each card does something different. You have to read all of the cards. But I recommend starting with one of their pre-made decks and just kind of going with that deck over and over and over again until you kind of learn the basics of the game and the basics of your deck. And like you were saying, Doc, they're all really well balanced and useful, and you can win with these decks even if you kind of sort of don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, only a few cards have some really, really strange flavor text. Like most of the creature cards, after playing them a while, you'll understand what flying is. You'll know what trample is, Swamp Walker, Forest Walker, stuff like that. Just the really bizarre cards that you have to read, like sacrifice this card to go to your graveyard and pull out a monkey or some shit like that.
I love that.
Yeah, there's some
zombie monkey
in there. Yeah, zombie monkey because he is in the graveyard, obviously.
Right.
He was hanging out with zombie Abe Lincoln, and there you go.
Yeah. So again, real brief thoughts on Magic the Gathering, Duels of the Planeswalkers, 2012. It's not just a updated roster of Duels of the Planeswalker 2011. It seems pretty substantial.
You're not going to say anything like, it ain't yo mama's Magic.
It ain't yo mama's Magic. After buying the game on Steam, I have actually bought a deck of the physical cards.
Very cool.
Yeah, I believe the Steam game cost less than the deck of cards.
This is why I play the Steam game.
Right.
Well, I know someone at PAX that would love to play Magic with you.
Locke is talking about getting a whole bunch of Magic cards, like opening the packs and then kind of passing them.
He wants to do a draft. Yeah, I would be down for it.
I'm sorry. Some of our listeners do not know who that is. Could you guys fill in our listeners?
At Locke Vincent.
Locke Vincent of LockeVincent.com. Co-Optimus fame, YouTube fame.
Excellent.
Friend of the show.
Calgary.
Former audio engineer. Well, he's still engineering. He just doesn't.
Above average kisser.
He could grow a really sweet beard.
Excellent dancer. Usually shirtless.
Yeah, rocks flannel like no other.
Is this good? Canadian, so no one likes him. Yeah, so that's Magic. Don't be intimidated because you don't know the game going in. Give it a try, and if you like deck building games, you'll probably love it. It's very well done. Let's go to some games on this list that I have not heard about ever, and
NCAA. No, I'm kidding.
Sonny wishes he still was the host. I think that's what it is. He wants to control this ride.
Do you want me to go briefly into NCAA? I can be real quick.
Sure.
So last week we were talking about NCAA Football 2012, and how the conferences were going to be wrong, and maybe that's a reason why they should make new games, etc. So I got to the end of my first season, and in their dynasty mode, that's like their career mode. And at the end of the season, it gives you the opportunity to change the conferences around. So
like
you
manually, or just they
Yes.
say these are the conferences for 2013. Go with these.
You have to change them manually, but you can change where your team is or where other teams are. You can literally change any team into any conference. So I have updated the teams that are going to be in their specific conferences, and after kind of going through the off season, there really isn't any reason why they can't just let this game be the game for a year or two and really get all the bugs out. I mean, it's greed is the reason, which is a shame, because if they took an extra year on the next iteration of this game, it could be flawless, and that would go a long way to kind of making this a better brand. So the end of the season stuff is pretty cool, and again, there doesn't seem to be kind of any reason why they can't skip a year with the NCAA football game at the very least.
Well, there is one reason.
Yeah, the money.
Just curious, you're playing Wisconsin in the Big Ten, I'm assuming?
I am.
Okay. Did you think about moving all the hard teams out of the Big Ten and putting in like Louisiana Tech? Get in there.
I think maybe the next season I'll add teams so the Big Ten is 16, because I think that would be interesting.
But then they can't do anything cool with like the numbering.
Could you explain this to people like me that don't know what the fuck is in a conference?
Okay, so why
is what you're doing
collegiate athletics?
Why is what a good thing? Why is what you're doing with these conferences a good thing for you? What's wrong with them? What's the matter? Got to explain all these things to me, because I got
the Jello pudding pop.
The landscape of college athletics is changing.
Oh boy, I didn't know you wrote an article.
I did for the New York Times, apparently, with that preface. Particularly college football. In college football, you have teams that are the nation doesn't play every team in the nation. They are broken into these conferences, and you kind of play the 10 or 12 or 16 teams in your conference.
Is it a regional thing, or is it something else? How are these conferences determined?
Mostly it's a regional thing.
It used to be strictly a regional thing, and now as teams are shifting conferences, it is less and less so. The Western Athletic Conference, the WAC, has all sorts of teams all over the place, and the Big 12 used to be kind of in the south, the middle of the south of the United States, and now it's...
Are there actually 12 in the Big 12?
There are only 10.
There were 12 at one point.
And the Big 10 has 12 teams.
Why?
Yep.
Is there a good reason for that?
And like Texas Christian University is playing in the Big East. Just weird shit.
Like Big 10 is the 10 not the teams? Is the 10 like a group of 10 people who decide?
The Big 10 the Big 10 used to be 10 teams. They added Penn State over a decade ago, and they just added Nebraska last season. So the Big 10 is 12 teams.
12.
And because of branding and business and all this bullshit, they don't want to change the name of the Big 10 to the Big 12 because there's already a Big 12, even though that...
The oversized 12 comes in.
That conference lost its teams, and now is only 10 teams. Why can't they switch? Because of branding. And
even when they had 11 teams, they still wanted to keep it as the Big 10, and then they like shyly put in a 1 in between the 1 and the 0 and like the negative space to make it
negative
look like
space.
It's that Big 11.
It's like the FedEx logo. It was kind of cool actually that you saw the words Big 10, but the number 11 was in the negative space. It was neat. Anyway, so
man, college sports is one crooked ass business.
It is. It's. I don't want
to call it driven by football too. Like gymnastics is not going to depict what conference they're in. The football decides pretty much.
Right.
Well, it's America's sport.
Yeah. It is. So the conferences, the teams, the alignment of the teams within the conferences is different last season than it will be next season because of teams moving from conference to conference. And the ability to do that in the game for someone like me who likes it to be as realistic a simulation as possible is something that adds to the enjoyment.
So to keep with the realism, you're altering it from how it really should be.
I'm altering it from the way it was last year to the way it will be this year.
I see. Okay, so you're ahead of them. I see.
Right.
You're not just saying, let's collect all the shitty teams so I can be king of Shit Mountain.
Yeah. Yeah, the Shit Mountain Conference champion.
Shit Mountain, yeah, SMC. Right. It is.
I was just curious about this. Because a lot, we have some international listeners, and we have some listeners like me who think college football's the devil, and we're not familiar with this kind of thing. So, I just wanted a little bit of clarification, and now that we understand where you're coming from, it's not just like a conference, what, huh? Now it's like, oh, so they don't know what they're doing in these things, and HP knows best. So
maybe now you'll catch a Tulsa Golden Showers game.
That's Golden Hurricane. Even I know that. No one cheers for Tulsa, even in Tulsa.
Right.
It's all over.
Yeah, the college football conferences are akin to a division in major sports.
Like, it's cute when Tulsa wins. Everyone's like, oh, that's pretty cool. But it's only important that OU wins.
Yes.
OSU.
That's true.
However, I've noticed that OSU fans are a lot more humble and a lot nicer people than OU fans. Like, real idiots tend to love OU compared to OSU. Everyone I've met that's a big OSU fan, and that's Oklahoma State University.
Correct.
They're kind of orange color, whereas the OU Sooners, yeehaw, are kind of a maroon, maybe a burgundy color.
Boomer.
Shut up. I'll kill you. I'll kill all of them. I'll kill everyone that says that.
That sounds great.
It's to the point where if I go out of town and I see another town's or another state a store with all their stuff, I'm like, oh my god, this is so refreshing. No, you bullshit. It's beautiful.
Look at all these Nebraska colors.
Yeah, I'm like, this is nice. It's pretty. It's pretty. So, should we shut up about college football?
Yeah, we have spent much longer than I was originally planning to spend.
Me too.
Well, the best part is we weren't talking about the actual game. We were talking about the game in the game.
It's still a game, so this
That's
is
true.
Games Only Podcast,
Works.
available on
That's true.
iTunes and YouTube.
I mean, yeah, we talked about Magic the Gathering, so why not college football?
If you want to balance it out, whatever.
That is literally all I've been playing this week. So we're done with me, thankfully.
Hang on, I got a question for you. A friend of the show, Fuzzy, mentioned today that he has spent over $100.
Over $100
on Mass Effect 3 multiplayer boosts. So now, HP, it's time for you to tell us the truth.
Mess up.
Have you spent any money?
I have spent. Yeah, we've been over this. I've spent real money.
How much real money have you spent at this point? Because you're playing way too much of that stupid game.
Easily over $10 and less than 20, I think.
Okay.
I think I'm in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
I unfortunately am, and I blew my load early. I still don't have anything special, but I'm not going back to that game because I've just got too much to do.
This weekend may be the coup de grace. They are doing some special things if you go through on gold, which is the highest difficulty. And so I think this weekend we're going to attempt gold and maybe attempt to get the achievement for playing all of the maps on gold. And yeah, I don't know how much longer we're going to play that game. Something else needs to come out.
I think
the issue.
Fuzzy needs to keep playing it to make his $110 to be justified. I think he needs to play for like the next 3 years. And not
You
spend
realize
any
that
more
is
money,
almost-
that is.
He's basically purchased a $150 game, and he's okay with that.
And he didn't get like
I'm
any
not really
dog
calling
tags.
him out. I'm just saying that people are okay with this, and now you see that, yes, free-to-play does make a hell of a lot of sense when you monetize these extra things because people will do this. Holy crap.
Yeah. And
I mean, he didn't get any night vision goggles, no cat helmet.
I haven't.
They
I have
really,
night vision
really
goggles.
should make a strong effort to see if they can't work something out with Microsoft to put the multiplayer online as a free download, because, my goodness.
Or even if they can't do free, do like a $5 download.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people who would get rid of their copy and just stick with that. You know. Anywho, all right, I was just curious on what your money shame was. What your money shame looked like.
Money shame.
Money shame. Getting all the shame with their money shame.
Okay.
Good theme song,
bro. Let's talk about one of these games that I have never heard of.
Demon Souls?
Okay, HP, forget the transition. Just say what game you want to talk about.
We have to keep going with the Joker. It's not fun.
Just piss on the off and be like, I want to talk about.
Demon Souls.
Either Dragon's Dogma or Last Survivor. Those are the two.
I told you to pick one. You picked two. We
I
can't talk
did?
about both at the same time.
Okay.
There's no
go.
time to argue. Doc, put us to bed.
Okay.
Put this argument to bed.
Dragon's Dog. Oh, you don't want to be put to sleep.
The argument put to bed, please.
No, we're going to be playing. We're talking about Dragon's Dogma right now. I played the demo. It's available on Xbox Live Arcade, and it's a Capcom kind of Monster Hunter free reign type of game, I want to say, because the demo didn't really show much about what real style of game it is. It's more like an adventure fighting large creatures, so I want to say Monster Hunter, but it's not a Monster Hunter game, even though it is made by Capcom, in which they have they have a really good character creation. I recorded a video last night of me going through it, so I'll try and post that up shortly. I streamed it too, so you can check it out on my twitch.tv account, /Dr. Gumaer. But really, they have like 80 different styles of haircuts, and then you could change the color, and like 35 different styles of eyebrows, and a bunch of different things. I made like this really old grizzled fat dude named Leslie Cotton. And you also make God, did they call them thralls? I can't remember what pawns, or like some type of guy who follows you. And I made like this really squeamish, girly-looking guy that's going to follow him around. And the character creator is actually quite sound. And I'm not a huge fan of character creators. Usually I go through them pretty quick, but I had a blast with this one.
Interesting.
So very good character creator, and the demo has two different parts of the game, I guess, that they demo out. One's called the prologue, and which is a little bit of story, you going through like an area with a little cinematic background, and fighting some dudes, and then finally coming across a chimera that you have to beat up. And the other one is just a kind of like a free-range open world thing in which you have to kill this griffin that's flying around. Both of them are pretty short pieces, but they give you a good idea of what the combat is.
Okay.
You have a weapon, and you have a light attack, a medium attack, and then options to use a shield or a bow, and special attacks branch off of that, depending on what you hold. You can, like, climb onto the bigger enemies. Like, for the Chimera, I literally jumped on its back and grabbed its back and then chopped off its tail, which was a snake. So that's actually a lot of fun, grabbing onto the enemies, kind of like Shadows of the Colossus, in which you're grabbing on and stabbing the enemy, except this is a little bit more action-based. It's fairly sound so far. The only problem is that there's a lot of shit going on the screen at once. A lot of people had problems because it's like set in letterbox, so you do have bars up, the black bar up top and down below on your screen, so it's not formatted to fit your large television properly. There's still little bars, not covering the entire screen. And then there's like, I'm sure you could turn a lot of this stuff off, but there's like a mini map that takes up a big corner. Then on the other corner, there's your button mapping that takes up a bit. And then there's like a text box like in between there. So a lot of the screen is covered with shit that's not the actual game. Kind of looks like an MMO style, which like there's shit all over the place, and then like a little window in the middle in which you can see what's going on. But
I feel like I played this demo at PAX. Do you remember?
Were you stabbing bitches? Climbing on things?
I think Capcom's booth had Asura's Wrath and this game.
I think it had Dragon's Dogma there, yeah, because it had Asura's Wrath, Dragon's Dogma, Street Fighter Cross Tekken maybe, or Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and Raccoon City. I think those were the four games.
Yeah, so your pawn... there's a whole other element that they were talking about at PAX where basically you can give your pawn to other players. There's like some kind of weird cooperative thing where that
wasn't mentioned at all in the demo.
Okay.
It should be a co-op game though, but it's I guess there's a co-op element like that, but there's like no way for someone to go into my world, I think, and help me fight things.
If this is the game that I'm thinking it is, you can basically hire your pawn out to other players, and your pawn will help other players, and then bring you back, I think, gold and maybe loot. I think that they were talking about that as kind of the cooperative element of this game, but that's not in the demo anywhere, huh?
No, you're rolling around with a group of 4 almost all the time, but the other 3 are always AI controlled. It would make sense for this to be like a co-op game in which you roll around with a crew of 4 people fucking shit up, but no, it's all AI controlled, and there's some cool elements that would have worked out well. Like there's combo moves. Like when I was fighting the Griffin, this one guy with a big broadsword called me over, so I ran over, and he boosted me up onto the Griffin, and I pulled down on its wing, and it fell to the ground. But
nice.
It's all like AI stuff. It's fun, but it would be great with an actual party of people.
And there's no indication that that's going to be what the real game is?
I don't believe that is in the real game.
That's too bad. Okay. Well, that's Dragon's Dogma's demos.
Play it. It's a decent demo. Fuck around with the character creation. Make some grizzled old dude, or what have you, and have a good time.
Sounds good.
The nice thing is, though, is that someone told me that from the demo, if you create a character you really like, you can transfer it over if you buy the game, so you don't have to recreate the character.
Very cool.
Which is a very nice option.
Yeah. I like games that do that. So yeah, that's Dragon's Dogma's demo. Sonny, tell me about the other game on here that I've never heard of, Last Survivor.
It's actually Lone Survivor. I put the wrong title in there.
Fantastic.
It's a PC game, indie game, two-dimensional, Silent Hill 2 inspired quite a bit from the fantastic soundtrack, which is really top-notch. Basically, you are a lone survivor a type of apocalypse that's happened. There's been some sort of disease. You're wearing a mask on your face so you don't breathe it in, whatever it might be. And the challenge is to go from room to room, get out of your apartment, and escape, and figure out exactly if something did happen or if you're friggin' crazy.
Huh.
So it sounds pretty good. The sound design is absolutely incredible. Gotta admit, it's too good. I definitely recommend trying this game out. It's $7.99 currently, 20% off on Steam, and it's just really, it's really cool. It's an adventure game. You pick up different things.
Okay.
It's not an action game by any means. I really dig this game so far. And for being so cheap, it's really hard for me not to tell people to get it because, it is cheap.
Okay.
But if you like atmosphere, if you like a nice, neat new story, this game will do it for you. It's very cool.
And you said it's 2D?
Yeah, yes it is.
So
it's
it's
two-dimensional.
like side-scrolling?
Yes, it is side-scrolling.
Okay.
It is a side-scroller.
Okay. A side skriller thriller. Are you feeling thrilled at all? Is this scaring you at all?
Well, it's not somewhat. It doesn't do big scares.
Okay.
It does atmosphere. It does creepiness, things like that, and it does them really well. Like I said, the music, I mentioned it before, is phenomenal. The sound is really good, and it's definitely a throwback to Silent Hill 2, which a lot of people consider Silent Hill 2 as being kind of one of the greatest survival horror games that's ever existed. And this game definitely pulls a lot of influence from there, but still remains really unique. You have multiple endings. Depending on if you use drugs to keep yourself going, you might start hallucinating. You might even find out more of the story. It's really hard to say.
That's neat.
Yeah, it's a neat mechanic because it'll give you benefits in the short term, but trouble in the long term. Needless to say.
Dun, dun, dun.
I can say that the game is definitely interesting. It's very engaging. Thank you very much, my friend of the show, Gravehound, for getting this for me. If you'll remember, I'm poor, and I mentioned that, wow, this game looks really good, and he so kindly bought it for me.
Yeah,
so
he bought me,
thanks.
I think, Mountain Blade Warband. I haven't downloaded that, but I should play that. Thank you, Gravehound.
It's a very good game. You should.
Yeah.
All right.
Speaking of good games that you mentioned, Silent Hill HD Collection just came out with Silent Hill 2 and 3 on it.
Yeah, I rented that.
Okay.
Promptly sent it back.
I have heard bad things about this port.
It's not a good port.
Yeah. Okay.
Gosh, I really don't know if going back to the PS2 version is better, but there's something very wrong about the HD collection for Silent Hill, and I just don't know. It just doesn't seem right. Something seems very wrong about it. Controls incredibly archaically, which it still does on PS2, but something about it's just the fact that they can get so much more detail in that game diminishes what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
Being able to clearly see the end of the fog, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, you put an actress, a hot Hollywood starlet, in front of an HD camera instead of an SD camera, and oh, hey, I think that's herpes on her lip. Things like that. You see the flaws a lot stronger than you had thought before, where your mind filled in the blank.
That's herpes on her lip?
I think that every single night.
Alrighty.
I'm saying this is something that kind of ruins something.
No,
that you
but
like
in Silent Hill,
oh, hey.
Yeah, I
like,
got it.
what is that? What the fuck is that up there? And you can't tell because it's bad
You're like, oh yeah, Scarlett Johansson and her creamy bosom. In HD, you find out that there are red dots and you don't like them, and you go, oh gross, she might have freckles. That's disgusting. Freckles are gross, HP. So yeah, that was my experience with the collection. So I went ahead and sent it back. They were freckles on boobs.
That's too bad.
Until HD, there are freckles on boobs.
I have not played Silent Hill 2 or 3, so I was kind of excited about the HD collection, but I heard bad things, so I will stay away.
It's really hard because they are good games at their heart, but something's just not. It kind of suffers from this jump upwards, which is a shame because a lot of games shouldn't have this problem. But Silent Hill had unique issues using fog and using lack of detail to add to the game instead of, like God of War on the PSPs now in HD. Hey, guess what? That looks a lot better.
Right.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's too bad. That's too bad. Let's cheer ourselves up by talking about a good game. Doc, you went back to Demon's Souls recently.
I did. Sonny told me the servers are shutting down May 31st, so I decided to hop back in, trying to find some online partners to play with. I'm catching up with our good friend Locke Vincent at LockeVincent.com, and and so I'm trying to get my levels up. But this game plays a hell of a lot faster than Dark Souls, I feel. Going from Dark Souls to this, the movement seems faster, the attacks seem faster, the deaths seem faster. It's still a really solid game, and if it wasn't for the Nexus world, I say this feels a lot better than Dark Souls. But Dark Souls had that cool, open, connected world, so I still have to get my hats off to that. But this is, if you have it, play it again until before the server shut down. Do it a favor, because I'm finding things I didn't see before. Like in the Nexus, there's this whole upper level that's like the what the hell is it called? It's like a trophy room. It shows like the best players in certain in certain aspects. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I didn't see this before, and it shows their characters and stuff like that. I'm also streaming that whenever I'm playing, so you catch the Adventures of Bumpy on there. Adventures of Bumpy, yes.
What is going to happen to this game when the servers go down?
I believe you can still play it solo offline. You just won't get cool things like the messages, or you won't see like the phantoms go around, or you won't be able to summon characters. But I've played the game offline before, so I know it's possible. So I don't think the game is going to be completely unplayable when the servers go down. It's just going to lose a lot of its pizzazz.
Yeah, but it'll probably still be worth playing for people who enjoy the game.
Yeah, if you pick it up.
I think that's safe to say.
If you never played it before, and it's like the servers are down, but you see it for like $5-10, pick it up. It's still fun.
Yeah. Well, good. Have you been playing anything else this week, Doc?
No, that's been pretty much it. I tried to get into Nier some more, and I couldn't do it. I don't know. I don't want to play a good father simulator, so I'll put it on the back burner for a little bit.
That's right.
Best father in the world, Father of the Year simulator.
I can't wait for that to be an actual game at some point. All right. Sonny, tell me a little bit about Xenoblade.
Xenoblade is a Wii game. Now that none of you are listening anymore.
Maybe the first Wii game we've reviewed.
The Wii actually has a lot of really good games on it. It's just a shame because it's hard for people to go off the grid and play their Wii. When I play the Wii, it feels empty because I don't have that persistent online friend list telling me what the hell people are doing. It's a very lonely experience going to the Wii, but anywho. Xenoblade Chronicles was released in Japan to everyone collectively jerking off in their shorts about it. Oh my god, it's the greatest JRPG ever. Why did they ever bring this to American shores? Well, eventually they brought it to Europe, and these guys kept beating off in their shorts. Oh, but I don't want to have to import it. So, of course, these assholes pirated it. Whatever. If they're big fans of it, they're going to be, well, at least it's in English, and now I can play it on my pirated Wii. So GameStop, of all people, decided, we're going to bring this to America. And it is probably selling fairly poorly because all the assholes who were masturbating in their shorts and leaving disgusting little stains on the inside, well, they already pirated and played it. Well, I can't really justify spending that money on a game I've already played. So, thanks, assholes. In the meantime, those of us who have picked it up from GameStop are experiencing the JRPG that, hell, rekindles my initial attraction to what JRPGs are. Now, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm not that far in. I'm only about an hour and a half. Let's not get stupid. It does not require waggle controls. You can use the classic controller. It's happy times, so no one can bitch about that because that's all people ever do when they say waggle. It's got achievements in the game. Sure, it's self-contained. It's, on your save file. It's got a giant list of achievements and things that you can do. But you know what? Hey, that helps. That's cool. That's a nice little thing. Tons of collectible things. Tons of quests. Boy, do you remember when you would walk into a town and almost everyone had a different quest for you? I do, and I was, 12 years old. It's really refreshing to see people who need shit that has to be done, and it's not necessarily impossible. There's just so much to do in this game. And it's an action RPG in a way. You go into battles and you choose fight, you stand in front of an enemy, and they go, yay, there's the fighting. You can choose to activate your super stuff, but no one gives a crap about me talking about the battle system. Let me just say that it's solid and it's fun. You can upgrade your weapons, and that's fun. You can put different things in the slots on your swords, and you can chop people up in even special ways. Good things. The game's really cool. If you own a Wii, you should really try this game and also play all the other games that you missed anyhow. But if you own a Wii, you should definitely get off your ass.
Yeah, when I heard this game was coming out, I was kind of tempted to buy a Wii, and then I'm like, no, fuck that shit.
It's a straight up fantasy, but a little bit futuristic. You know how those fantasy games get, where they're like, oh god, here come the robots, get your sword.
And here's an airship.
You lost me there.
Well,
but
fantasy games that are futuristic airships. Never mind. You don't know what you're talking about. I won't explain.
All the fantasy games that have had airships have been pretty primitive. But hey, where's that caveman RPG I heard about? When's that coming out? Can't wait to see some real lack of technology. Save it a lightning bolt and strike the tree. That'd be awesome.
So. Where did all this animosity towards the fans of Xenoblade come from?
I guess I'm just an asshole.
Oh, okay.
I don't really have a reason. It's frustrating to me because I see lots of games that come out in Japan and all these diehard people who really want it to come out in America just want to be able to pirate it in English. Like, I know that's not everybody that's out there, and there are people who actually genuinely do give a shit. Hello, I'm right here. You can join me if you like. But there's just so many people that just want it in English so they can pirate it. And I think that when a company puts out a game in Japan and they're like, oh, look, there's all these Americans saying that they'll buy it, they almost always get burned. Because they're like, well, yeah, they got a petition, 30,000 people, that's 30,000 sales, right? And they release it and they get 5,000. Like, what happened? These people said they wanted it. They wanted to steal it from you guys. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry about that. And that's why we can't have nice things, and that's why you keep these games in Japanese, because you'd rather just deal with that, and it's not worth bringing it to America. But it's got dual language selection in Xenoblade. It's just a very, very solid game so far, and from all I hear from the people that masturbate in their shorts, they love this game all the way through. There's so much stuff to do after the game is over, end game kind of content. It just keeps on coming, and it's just fantastic. The only thing that's hurting it is because it's graphically poor on the Wii, and that's it. So yeah, I'm excited to play more of that. I really am. I can't wait, and glad I finally got my hands on it, and it's in English.
No, you're renting this, or did you buy it?
Perch ass.
Oh, whoa. High class.
No, I had it paid off long ago when it was first announced, and I was like, I told people I'd buy it when it would come out over here. Damn it, I'm living up to that. I'll pay it off right now. And that was like in January when I was bathing in money.
Oh, wow.
Like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, that sounds...
Now I'm the poor kid on the corner that's getting brand new games, and I'm like, no, really, I need money. People are like, yeah, you just got The Witcher 2. And I'm like
Donald Duck.
But I already got it. Uncle Dolan does not care. And I've also been playing The Witcher 2, speaking of fantasies. Now I've been talking to my roommate who works at GameStop.
Mm-hmm.
She says that she's had a large amount of people returning the game because they're disgusted with it.
Tits?
Some of it is the language, which kind of strikes me weirdly. I hear the C word pop up a few times, but not overly, and it's not like they're saying horrible things like, I want to cut a hole in your stomach and fuck the wound. They're not saying things like that.
No, they're just using their swear words like slang. You know, they're just saying, you...
Oh, you played it?
Yeah, I told you this before on the PC.
He's played about half of it on the
Did you
PC.
beat it?
Yeah.
He's played about half of it.
I'm so happy you have memory.
How far did you get on it?
About halfway through.
Which chapter was that?
I can't recall. I killed some Kraken dude and then went on to the next area.
So you're in chapter 2?
I guess that's chapter 2.
You need to pick it back up, bro.
I should.
But it certainly, what you played certainly didn't make you say, God, I think I should return this. Or even think, like, I can see why someone would return this. I'm not seeing that at all.
Okay, so I think there's two styles for fantasy, okay? We can break it down into television, movies, as well as the games. There's your basic fantasy games that, your Final Fantasy, stuff like that.
The happy kind.
Yeah, the happy kind. And then there's The Witcher, much like there's, Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, they'll curse, they'll whore, they don't give a fuck. Lord of the Rings, everybody's nice and happy and trying to fight the overall evil. Same type of style in the...
Actually, if you know about Tolkien, you'll know that the elves are actually beneath the humans. And it was a joke that no one laughed at, so go on.
I was waiting for what you were going to say about it.
The hobbits, actually, they eat lots of meals because it has to do with their overgrown penises. Oh.
They
do have big feet, so...
They didn't bring it up in the movies because audiences did not focus test well when it came to hobbit penis.
I find it fascinating that people are returning The Witcher based on...
It's weird to me because I'm not seeing anything crazy in there like, oh yeah, this guy returned it, he said that it was just the raunchiest game ever, and I haven't even had anyone proposition me yet. And, I mean, I'm not really going to whorehouses and doing anything. I need to keep my money for weapons, because I'm obviously concerned about my seed.
No, there's a distinctive lack of money in The Witcher, from what I've heard.
I mean, I'm just hanging on to it. I'm like, yeah, I could buy that, or I could get this cool set of boots.
Yeah.
Sorry, ladies. It's all about the boots. But, like, I'm not seeing these things, and I'm a pretty significant way into the game, so what's up, people?
It's rated M, is it not?
Oh, yes. In fact, I have the box right next to me.
What does it say?
Rated M for blood and gore, which no one ever brings a game back for that.
Nope.
Intense violence, please. Nudity, very general. Strong language, strong sexual content, and, use of drugs. Please, my lord.
Oh, I think they...
Pass the cocaine.
I think they referred to his, potions he drinks as drugs.
If so, that's some sad shit. They're like, no, that's a drug habit.
Well, I think on all the Final Fantasy games, they had to use, mild alcohol references, because either was one of the items in-game. So they have weird shit like that.
Well, even Fallout 3 was supposed to have morphine in the game, but people freaked the fuck out, and they had to change that to, Med X.
Oh, okay.
That was initially supposed to be straight up morphine.
Give me those pills!
So, this is tangential but related. I'm in an engineering ethics class at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and we talk...
In case you want to stalk him, that's where you
Unless you want to stalk me, I will tell you exactly what room it's in.
He's the guy who's always smiling.
Not hard to pick out of a crowd.
So we were talking about kind of the general attitudes of our culture versus other cultures, specifically as it relates to engineering, but just in general. And, I honestly think the nudity thing, again, is something that for some reason this culture thinks nudity is the weirdest, worst, most obscene thing they could possibly see in a game or film or on TV.
I can tell you why.
Because we're all prudes.
God we trust.
Yeah, we're all...
This nation was built on Jesus.
Which... It's built on people who don't understand the fundamental principles of what that man was trying to teach, which drives
Take the
me
Crusades,
insane.
for example.
The Caped Crusaders.
Not those.
Everyone knows Batman and Robin, an allegory for the Christian Crusades. Anyway,
Anywho,
Yeah, The Witcher's a European-style game, developed game, so it has nudity, and they're usually a bit more laxed on the nudity.
I honestly I can't think of anything that this game would contain that would be so offensive to people.
it can't. You've seen the Vienna sausage attached to that man's crotch in it. Oh, yeah, so in Grand Theft Auto 4, they had that horrible, that Vienna sausage moment with the senator, and they went out of their way to make that moment, as gross as they could, but not oh god, it's festering, but it's if you're sitting in front of it and you're like, oh man, gonna see me some male dick tonight. You see it and you're like, that was not worth it. So
I didn't get that far in that game.
there's some male dick in the Lost.
I never owned
Can't
that
wait.
game.
Can't wait.
All right. So yeah, it's definitely a weird culture that's built itself on violence and away from reproduction.
Yeah. Just food for thought. That's interesting. It's an interesting conversation that we've started, and I'd like to invite our listeners to continue the conversation on YouTube and NoobTube, and hey, even tweet at us. You can tweet at me at HP1703. My co-host, Dr. Gumaer, at Dr. Gumaer. That's Gumaer.
Oh, wonderful.
Yay! Spelling.
Not Gumaer.
Not Gummier. And my other co-host, at Sunflower4000.
Hey, but beware if you follow me. I post videos of fat people that I find.
Some can be rather comical.
Most of them are stupid. I love you, Sonny. I think that's been our show for the week. I have been your host, and I have enjoyed and appreciated being your host this evening. This has been episode 35 of the Games Only podcast.
Counting.
35.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
And we will talk at you next week.
Toodles.
Bye, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the show.
Kisses.
Hugs.
Watch Beer and Board Games.
Oh, God. I didn't hit stop fast.